It found over 3 million owners. And most of all, it defined the small car. It is the Fiat 500. The trouble with designing a small car is it's a bit like doing a Rubik's Cube. You get the blue surface right, and then you find that all the other faces are messed up. That it has to do absolutely everything that a big car does, but for a lot less money. So it has to be compact on the outside, and yet it has to be big on the inside. But the great thing about the Fiat 500 was it cracked this problem. The Fiat 500 was born out of necessity. Post-war Italy of the 1950s was a country that needed to get on the move. Any car that did the job would have to be cheap. And Italian families were large, so it would have to fit all the bambinos in. Yet the 500's designer, the brilliant Dante Giacosa, decided that even though his car was built for pennies, its owners shouldn't have to suffer for the pleasure. This car is clever, really clever. For example, the front suspension. It consists of just a single spring across the car rather than a pair. This isn't only cheaper, it's lighter as well. And that isn't some penny-pinching lash-up either. In fact, it's the technology that John Cooper used when he produced his brilliant post-war miniature racing cars. They say that there are 4 things that can go wrong with a Fiat 500. Mind you, there are only 4 things on a Fiat 500. Its simplicity is its brilliance. There's ingenious design all over this car. Take this canvas sunroof, for example. It's not only to let in a bit of fresh air, it also meant that Fiat didn't have to pay for an entire roof pressing, and that saved money and weight. The interior light, built into the rear-view mirror to save space. Neat, simple, and an idea copied and used in the 1990 Lotus Elan. In fact, the packaging is genius. The 500 has one of the greatest interior to exterior proportions of any car. Remember, the 500 predated that other so-called miracle of packaging, the Mini, by 2 years. Like the Fiat, there are other cars that mobilized nations. America had the Model T Ford, for example. But that was just a box on wheels. It was big, but unlike the 500, it wasn't clever. But the 500 was a people's car and then some. It was a technical marvel that also had something else: charisma. Nearly every Italian driver thinks he's Nuvolari, and the others think they're Ascari. The 500 let them fantasize. It wasn't fast, but it certainly felt it. It was perfect for the twisting roads and cramped city streets of Italy. And it was stylish too. No car was so right for so many people so instantly. There was no end to its uses. Over the life of the 500, Fiat came up with over 60 variants. You could have a sports car, you could have a convertible, a beach buggy, a commercial vehicle, or even an estate. And if the original 15 brake horsepower was a bit leisurely, you could have more power too. A young Italian Romeo wanting to impress could drive his 500 into any backstreet garage in any Italian town and buy an assortment of bolt-on goodies including twin carbs, bigger exhausts and fatter wheels. This was the ultimate Meccano set. Such is the 500's intoxicating personality that even today it pulls in a diverse fan club. Gordon Murray, the designer of the McLaren F1, drives one to work. Tina Turner's got one. So has Michael Schumacher. And Peter Stringfellow. But that's not the car's fault. The 500 isn't awesome or mind-blowing. It's actually much more important than that. It's a piece of genius. Every day, millions of people use small, clever cars. But this is the car that set the pace. This is the finest piece of intelligent car design ever. This is the car that showed how it should be done. That's why the Fiat 500 is the greatest car in the world.
If you want to vote for the Fiat 500 as the greatest car, it's very simple. Simply dial 0900 199 00, and then the last two numbers are 08. And it works like that for all of the cars. So if you want to vote for the McLaren F1, say, Ron. It's that number with 01 at the end. You can vote for any of them at any time, so maybe the Land Rover. Fine car. 06 as the last two numbers. If you want details of any of the cars and their numbers, they can all be found on our website. Calls should cost no more than 10p. So, get voting now.